Hello everyone, I am Rishika Reddy from Group 37. We are working on the project Chatbot for Medical Queries. This presentation includes the main components of the solution, the way they communicate with each other, the underlying data structures and tech stacks used in developing the interfaces of the application, the datasets used and the way data is pre-processed, along with the workflow of the application. The main components here are the large language model. A pre-trained model is used which is responsible for understanding patients' queries as generating responses. As mentioned earlier, we are using a BERT model here. Retrieval Augmented Generation RAG. So this enhances responses by retrieving relevant information from the knowledge base, and it combines this with the query and passes it on to the large language model for generating response. Medical knowledge base and web scraping. So we are using a dataset that is available on Hugging Face as the primary data, and later we'll use web scraping, which involves extracting data automatically from various websites with the help of HTTP requests. Also, a user interface is created which helps the user input the query and also view the response. The communication flow. The communication flow is better understood with the help of this diagram. So first, the data that is present in the document is divided into document chunks with the help of LangChain. And later, these chunks are passed on to an embedding model where each token is converted into a specific vector, and all these vectors are stored in a vector database. Now, when the user inputs a query, this question undergoes LLM embedding and it is converted into vectors. Now, from the vector database, the chunk that is similar to this vector is retrieved from the vector database and passed it on to the LLM. So now the question and this relevant document chunk is given to the LLM text so that the response the LLM generates is more factual. The underlying data structures. So a user interface here is developed with the help of HTML or JavaScript for user interaction. Now this query is sent to the backend server with the help of APIs. The RAG system retrieves relevant information from the knowledge base and sends it with the query to the LLM. The datasets, as mentioned earlier, will be using a dataset from Hugging Face repository. Asynchronous communication with cache data is used here for generating a faster response. So we'll build a user interface using HTML, CSS and JavaScript along with a React.js framework for interactivity. The backend server is built with the help of Node.js with Express or Python with Flask or Django. The frontend and backend communicate with each other with the help of RESTful APIs. Machine learning and data processing is achieved by using Python and PyTorch for deep learning. The user interface has two fields. First one is the text input field, which allows patients to enter their questions or symptoms, and then a chat window displays the conversation. Datasets for training the model. So there are a large number of datasets which are available on public repositories like Kaggle, Hugging Face, and GitHub. So we can choose one of them. And also we can use Google Dataset search for relevant medical information. And later we can use web scraping by automatically extracting data from various websites by giving it an HTTP request and then retrieving the data from these websites. Pre-processing involves the following steps. The first one is acquiring data. We acquire data from various resources and then store it in the form of a CSV or a JSON file. And then comes data cleaning. In data cleaning, all the inaccuracies in the data are removed, like the null values are handled in this process. Next is data splitting. So this large data is split into several subsets such as training, validation and testing so that it becomes easier for training the model. Then comes embedding and vectorization. This involves dividing the data into tokens, and then each token is converted into a vector. Lastly, all this pre-processed data is stored. Now, here is the workflow. Firstly, the user asks a question, that is, the user interacts with the chat doctor interface, and then the front end captures the input. Now, this input is sent to the backend server with the help of APIs. And now comes RAG. The backend utilizes the RAG system to search the medical knowledge base for relevant information based on the user's question, and then that relevant chunk is merged with the user query and passed on to the LLM. Now, this retrieved information and the user question are then forwarded to the LLM for response generation. Lastly, the LLM's response is sent back to the front-end server where the user receives the answer. And finally, the user sees the chat doctor's response on the screen. So we can also include sessions here, the system in which the system keeps a track of the past interactions to provide more context for future questions. Thank you.